Hi, thanks for being here. You're listening to A Conversation with Jordan. That's me. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, I hope you're having a great day today. I am starting today's podcast with literally nothing on my mind. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about today. And I really love that, again, about this podcast, that this is just going to be a flow of thoughts from me. Just whatever comes out is what is in my heart, obviously what's in my mind, and I don't even know what's there today. I have this assumption today that I'm going to have to restart this particular podcast because I don't even know what I'm going to say. Usually I don't have a very blank mind, but I'm feeling blank before starting this. And you might be like, then why the heck are you going to start talking on a podcast, Jordan? And again, it is, I think, a really good experiment for me to do something that has full creative freedom, that allows my mind to just enter that state of flow. Stream of consciousness, I think, is what they call that sometimes. Maybe, I don't even know if that's correct. Something that I just thought of was, I want to call out a creator on the internet. His name is Struthless, I believe, and I think he's a really fun, wild, unique brain. I love the way his brain works, and he's just so honest about a lot of the things that he's dealt with in life, but then also sets up these boundaries for himself to get things done, and is really great at mixing productivity and freedom and balance of life. Nobody's perfect at it, and he expresses that as well. Anyway, if you're interested in someone who is great at kind of picking apart the brain, but is also a wild character of a person, unique personality, go check him out. His name is Truthless. You might really like his videos. He's an artist if I've ever seen one, for sure. And I think he's a artist mixed with psychologist, and just a dad who's lived a lot of life and made a lot of mistakes and uses a lot of those mistakes for beauty. I think that's really cool. So that's something random. And speaking of talking about creators, fun fact about me, it's so interesting. I am not someone who gathers inspiration from a lot of different sources. I don't know why that is. I was never someone who listened to a lot of music. If I listened to music, I didn't listen to albums. I found one song that I liked and I replayed it over and over until I got tired of it. And then another song would pop up and I'm like, oh, I like that one. And I would just listen to it. I'm a filmmaker, and yet anytime someone asks me, hey Jordan, what's your favorite film? What inspires you? I'm like, crickets. I don't know. Which is funny. I don't draw inspiration from a lot of whole things, like full production, or what I mean by whole things is I more draw from moments. There might be a particular part of a song that I'm like, ooh, I really like the tempo or the bridge and how they did that particular part. Or in a movie, I might be like, wow, I really like that sequence and that little frame and how they put that together. It's never really the full picture, which is weird. I don't know. It's just a weird quirk, I guess, that I have in my creative brain. And also, if you want to know a little bit behind my process of filmmaking and creating, I'm terrible at storyboarding. I'm terrible at thumbnails, thumbnailing a thought before I go put it into action. I really excel in having a bunch of random pieces and then putting them together in a story. That's what a lot of the work you've seen from me results in. It is me having a piece, maybe the piece is a voiceover or a thought, and then I build from that. Or it's having a really cool shot that I got, and then trying to figure out a story that could fit into that shot. That is often how I create. It's hardly me sitting there and fleshing out an entire idea before I build the full story. It comes from a little piece of it. So I run into some struggles sometimes because of that type of process, but for the most part, that is kind of how my work comes about. And maybe you're seeing a reflection of that in this podcast with me coming here without a plan, nothing to say, and then how thoughts just start to build on top of each other and come out of my brain. I think I make a lot of connections in my mind from one thing to the other. And Yeah, for instance, if you're watching the video behind this, I have a plant off camera right here, and I just looked at the plant, and I kind of want to talk about that. This is just a random thought. I was born and raised in the desert, a lot of dirt surrounding me, and then I moved to Oregon, and Oregon is a very lush place. It has every shade of green I think you could possibly imagine in one state. And something else that it has that I did not grow up seeing was seasons, and specifically crops, right? Crops that go through their seasons. There's a field by my house that I continuously every year I see it start from dirt, and then I see little grass start to grow, and then that grass turns into, I don't even know what it is. It's like wheat or something. And then I see the farmer occasionally, if I catch him, I see him harvesting that crop, and then it's back to dirt again, and then it goes through the whole cycle once again. And on that same road by my house, there's trees lined up, and every fall I get to watch those leaves on those trees change into the most beautiful colors, and then they fall off, and then the trees are barren, and then spring comes around, and all of a sudden there's flowers on those trees, and then those flowers somehow turn into leaves. Like, I don't even know how it happens. It's amazing to me. And then it's your basic tree with just leaves for a little while before the whole process starts over again. And I have loved experiencing that. I've loved experiencing seasons, and it has taught me so much. I'm a deep thinker, as I said, so the depth of metaphor within seasons is so cool to me. I like the fact that even like in the wintertime when it's cold and it's dreary, that's a hard word for me to say, up in Oregon, the trees also appear to be quite ugly, and just give it some time and all of a sudden they're going to be so beautiful with flowers, and life is being brought out of them again. And obviously you can tell that is a great metaphor for a lot of life, and the seasons that we walk through. Man, I didn't think I'd get into scripture again this podcast, but there's one of my favorite chapters in the Bible is John 15, and it I don't have my Bible in front of me, but it talks about the father is the vine dresser, and he prunes off the bad fruit, and I'm not even saying it correctly. He prunes the bush so that better fruit can be produced. And pruning, is a difficult process. Like, it's a painful process. It's literally being cut. And I've loved seeing that metaphor play out into real life. Looking at all the vineyards that are around me, there's vineyards all surrounding me. And I've learned from different people that it takes some years for good fruit to be produced from those vines, from those vineyards. Those grapes take some time to produce a good crop. And it takes intention from the farmer to prune out the bad stuff, to prune out the dead stuff, so that better fruit can come. And what is required? Patience, a lot of patience, and time. And I just think, as I've been talking, and obviously the beginning of this podcast, like holistically, like the first few episodes, I'm talking a lot about burnout. And what a great reminder from just the seasons of life to have patience with the time that it takes to produce good fruit. Man, in an instant gratification culture, you can even bring that into your walk through every season of life. Like, I am a high capacity person, meaning like I love productivity. I love getting things done. I love learning. I love growing. And sometimes I just want to like push and rush that growth out of me. I'm like, man, I should know better by now. Man, I should be better at this by now. Man, didn't I already learn that lesson? And then I just take a moment and look at the plants and the crops and the trees around me, and I'm like, well, those things go through the same thing every year. What if that tree sat there and was like, dang it, I wish I knew how to keep my leaves. I wish I learned by now, and every year I still keep losing them. And then you miss the beauty that is to come from the next season. And, if those vineyards were saying the same thing, like, dang it, I wish I did better this year, and I wish I didn't have to be pruned to produce better fruit. They're missing out on the part that's the exact thing that's helping them have the better fruit. And man, if I could remember that in my own life, that would be nice. Sometimes if I go through these harder seasons and remember that like the good fruit is coming as a result of the pruning, how much more joy would I have in that process to be like, wow, I'm being intentionally cared for. I'm being intentionally nurtured in order to be better and fuller and sweeter, right? Man, that's just a really cool thought and something that has been really, really a gift in experiencing while moving up to Oregon and living here for a little while. And I also just in that I'm trying to remind myself to recognize like I really, really like all of us do. Like I really want to live each season of my life and not over expect myself to feel a certain way. Like if I'm going through a hard time, sure, feel it. It's okay to feel it and be barren once in a while, just like the trees. Like if whoa, sorry if I knocked the mic. If the trees are constantly upset that they don't have leaves, like what a terrible season. Well, I'm really, really digging in on this metaphor, but I just want to remind myself of that too. I really, really want to be okay with the barrenness, and enjoy the process for what's to come. So, yeah, there's a thought. Here you see me now. I'm hitting my blank point, but that's okay. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Thanks for coming on this journey with me as I'm so spontaneous in my thoughts. Okay, here's another thought. I'm going to take you down this path. I was thinking today about people, people in general, and I was thinking about this concept of how we can have a strength in something, but depending on the situation we enter, more nervousness can enter, or like you just are in a different frame of mind that makes you act differently. And I've been really working on not doing that. So for instance, I love mentorship. I love helping people and I feel comfortable doing that. So when I show up to a mentorship call, I know that regardless of the personality, even if they're harder to talk to or easier to talk to, I have enough confidence in the fact that I'll probably be able to ask enough questions human to human to see where they need help and help them the best that I can without having all the perfect answers. Now, if I enter into a different space, let's say somebody's like, hey, I want you to meet someone, and we think you guys would be great friends or something like that. It's easier to enter a mindset and be like, oh, I'm nervous all of a sudden to talk to this person because I don't know anything about them. And then it's like, what is the difference between those two social situations? Literally nothing. I'm talking to another human being to get to know them and ask them questions. And the only difference that would be occurring is mindset and expectations around the situation. And so it's been a really good practice and a really fun practice to recognize the strengths that I do have in certain ways and why I feel comfortable in one situation versus the other, and putting myself in the mindset of when I feel confident and taking that same sense of confidence into the place where I might feel more nervous, recognizing that nothing's changing about my ability. The only thing's changing is my perceived nervousness or expectations of a particular event. And I don't know if this is making sense, but it's been a super helpful just self-reflection or change and approach to life. It helps me love people a lot better because although I'm talking about myself and I'm speaking of confidence and ability, like I'm not even, I'm more introverted. I used to think I was terrible at asking questions. Like all these things I used to think about myself, I could still think about, and I'm not even claiming that I'm so great at these and that's what's making those situations easier. What I'm trying to say is it's the mindset of loving another person and not really worrying about what the situation is that makes it a lot easier. So let me clarify that even more if that point didn't make sense. When I enter mentorship calls, I know I'm there to help and serve somebody else. Why do I not think that same way sometimes about just a general social situation? And I've loved coming in with more of that mindset of how can I approach any conversation that I have, seeking to help and to serve and to love that person, and removing so much of that from my own, me, makes it so much easier to to do such a thing. And I've really enjoyed that change of thinking. Maybe this is not something you even deal with, but it's just something I've been thinking about. It has been fun to approach things differently. Something else I want to share about, here's more that is updates on my life. I think I tend towards way more logical approaches to life than emotional approaches to life. And if you want to know some really deep, personal, intimate things about me, I had spent years praying to feel more of my emotions. I feel like they got a little bit locked up in me. I became a very responsible person. Responsibility was probably my coping mechanism. A lot of people look at me and say, Jordan, you've got your head put on your shoulders or screwed on right on your shoulders, and a lot of great compliments, which I think there's a lot of beauty behind that, and I don't want to deny the compliment, and I'm very, very thankful for some of the experiences I've had in life that have led to, hopefully, I hope, a more mature approach in some ways. But, there's never a perfect, there's always a great, good and a bad to everything. There's a strength and a weakness in everything. And while that can be such a big strength, the weakness behind it is becoming so serious and so responsible that I've lost a little bit of the fun and the emotion, the ability to feel emotions and express emotions as much, because they got a little bit locked up. And so I prayed for a long time to feel those emotions again. And let me tell you, having that prayer answered has been very humbling. I have felt a lot more of my emotions, and I'm like, oh, emotions are, they can be messy. Those are messy. They don't feel good sometimes. Some emotions are great to feel. Some of them are not very good to feel. And I've been learning so much through that process of feeling my emotions better. And it's made me so much more intrigued by learning to appreciate emotions. Like, we're all emotional beings. Emotions are important. And I've been learning what emotional maturity looks like. And thankfully, I think I've been affirmed in some ways that I model some emotional maturity, even though I would say for myself, it's great that I'm finally feeling more of them in depth now, or at least expressing them. I think you always feel emotion, but you can ignore them in some way, So it's been a good process for me to go through. It's been a humbling process. But it's opened up such a space for empathy and compassion in my heart, and such a humility behind the weakness that you can feel behind emotions. Like, when you experience emotions, it's easy to feel weak. And what a good place to be. I think weakness is a good thing to feel. I think it's hard to feel. But I think it's really rich to be weak. And I have felt that more recently. It's like I come to people, and if I'm being honest, I'm like, man, I'm burnt out. I'm tired. And that makes me feel weak. But I'm being honest. I'm being very honest. And I know that, like, my burnout will not last forever. There truly is a season for everything, just like the trees. Maybe I'm in my little winter, but spring's around the corner, So, and I'm finally, because of this whole process, I'm doing things that are more healing for myself, like this podcast. It's so fun for me. Okay, if this makes a noise, I'm sorry. I could edit it out, but I need to move my hands. I'm like death gripping this mic that I'm holding, and because I didn't want to make noise, and my hand is killing me. The video can see that. By the way, if you're just listening to this on podcast, I'm recording videos for these podcasts too, but I'm mostly looking at the ground. I think maybe I've been looking at the camera more this time. Hi, I'm looking at the camera right now. But if you want to watch me as I'm speaking, if that will give you any more like insight or feeling like you're with me, then feel free to do that. I have a YouTube channel, as I talked about in the intro, called A Conversation with Jordan, and I'm uploading these there. I don't know if I'll always do a video, because like I don't want to. Again, I'm giving myself freedom in this podcast, so like if there's a time where I'm like, wow, I really have something to say, but I don't have time to set up a video, then maybe I won't. So just be with me in the spontaneous experience that is this podcast. But also, remember when I talked about being a designer? I like so quickly made the current album podcast art for this podcast. I don't know if it's going to stay. I just wanted to put it out there. That wasn't really like, I don't consider that great graphic design, but I just didn't think much of it. It's literally just a photo of me with the words, a conversation with Jordan. So we'll see how the design, like if you come back and listen to these episodes later, if you find this podcast much later than you just happen to listen through them from the beginning, then you'll see how it transitions. I'll tell you right now, it's me holding a camera in my hand, smiling with the words, a conversation with Jordan. So if it doesn't look like that anymore by the time you listen to this podcast, that means I finally put in the effort to design something unique and different. But there's that. Okay, that was a tangent. I lost on the track that I was saying, but yeah, feel free to go watch online if you would like to. I also experimented with uploading like a video podcast for Spotify. I don't know if I'm going to do that because it doesn't, if you're interested in building a podcast, that doesn't push it out to the other platforms. So you have to upload both a video and an audio version, which I think would annoy some people. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Who knows? But those are just random thoughts. Okay, I'm curious. Can I see? 22 minutes, I think. Well, I had some pause before I started this, so I've been talking for about 20 minutes. So why don't I end? I'm going to end with encouragement, like I said, and that might be me talking for 10 more minutes, but I want to end with an encouragement to you guys, per usual. So what can I encourage you about today? Hopefully this podcast has already been encouraging and maybe some relatability, but let's see. I talk so much about mindset. That's something that I've just noticed so much more recently. All of us need some help with our mindsets. I think all of us throughout all of history have needed help with our mindsets. But, the world nowadays has so much information out there. Like, more than ever, we can all agree that there's more information than has ever existed. I was starting to think about this the other day of, I've got a few health things that pop up, and we all know you search the internet about health problems, and it's just like this, just this black hole of really fearful things that you could read. And I was just thinking, like, people back way before the internet, if they were walking on gravel, nowadays there'd probably be like 5 million posts that say, make sure you wear the right type of shoes or you're going to get plantar fasciitis. I don't even know what that is really, or you're going to get bunions, or if you don't have the proper insoles for your feet, your back's going to hurt later and you're going to end up, all these things. Now, please don't hear me wrong. There is beauty in research and there's beauty in knowledge. And I'm so thankful for so much that we have discovered that can help us and help us to live healthier lives. But there's so much information out there. And so my encouragement to you today is to come to peace in that, like, though there's a lot of information and you can do all the research to do something better, if you didn't have that information available to you, you'd still be living life and you'd still probably be making it through all right. And when you come to that realization, it can help bring a little bit more peace. Our bodies and our minds and our humanity, the way we were created, was created to live well and to survive and to work. And we've got our problems and our flaws, and our sicknesses that come and get us. But the body is incredible in the way it's able to heal itself, and our minds are incredible in how they're able to help heal. Like, what do we know? We know that stress is one of the leading factors of health problems. That's become clearly researched, right? That's some research for you and some scientific evidence that stress is not good for our bodies. And I think information causes more stress sometimes. It can bring peace, but sometimes it can cause more stress. So if you're considering, and if you're seeking out and researching anything, research is fine. I'm saying this to you because I have a problem with this. I'm speaking as a guilty party. I am a researcher. I love information. I love learning. I love seeking all this stuff. But I know the effect of being so exhausted by over-researching something. So if you relate to me at all and you feel like that, I encourage you to just take some time to kind of accept life as it is and know that you will kind of be all right. If you're wanting to launch a business, you could research for the rest of your time how to launch a business. But also believe in yourself that though you might not have the skills, if you just start doing and put into practice, you will probably launch a business if you just keep trying and putting one foot in front of the other. The first person to ever launch a business didn't have the research out there, and they figured it out. So you could probably figure it out too. And maybe I'm being too idealistic here, but I don't think I am. I really think that we were created with the ability to do things. Like we were created with minds and brains that do work. And we're not created equally, and some of us have strengths in different areas, and you can't do everything you want. So here I am, like this is such a big topic, but like the truth is you can't do everything you want in this life. You do have limitations. You don't I cannot be the best scientist out there. I cannot be the best mathematician. My brain doesn't work that way. But you get what I'm trying to say here. On a basic human level and basic human things, you can probably figure it out, and you're probably going to be okay. And I hope you get my heart. There's so much nuanced things to say about this, and again, I'm just speaking like I didn't have a plan for what I was saying, so this is me rambling from my own perspective. Tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but can you hear my heart behind saying I want you to believe in yourself? And believe in yourself as a basic general human who we're on the same playing field. And me, human to human, speaking to you, I believe that you're okay. You can figure it out. If you're dealing with health issues, your body can do wonderful things. I'm so sorry that you're having to deal with that. It's painful. It's hard. The struggle's real. I'm not taking away from any of that. I feel it every day. But I'm also really amazed and thankful for a body that knows how to fight well. And just as we'll do full circle here, be patient in the seasons of life. Be patient in the seasons of healing. Be patient in the seasons of building new things. Be patient in the seasons of learning new things. We really need to, as this culture, relearn patience. Instant gratification is not the answer. It's just not. It is an illusion that everything in life will be instantly gratifying. It is just not true. The plants, the world, the way the natural order of the earth work, the way the natural order of the earth, what it shows us is that that's not a reality, and how everything else on this world operates. So, okay, my voice is feeling tired. I can't believe that that I can talk like this. I literally didn't know what I was going to say. And I just, I don't know, I took only a few breaths, it feels like. As always, I hope that you find something to be grateful for today. I hope you are doing well. I hope if you're not doing well that you can find something to celebrate or somebody to love. One of the best ways to start feeling better if you're feeling in a drought is to go love somebody else, go serve somebody else. It's amazing that we are gifted with a gift in return, gifted with a gift, that serving other people actually feels good. And that, I think, is a gift that the Lord has given us to be able to receive blessing from blessing others as well. So anyway, all right, I guess that's all for today. I was really creeped out when people on the internet say I love you guys. I'm like, how do you love me? You don't know me. But human to human, I love you guys. If I were to look at you and sit in front of you in a coffee shop and look into your eyes, I would say you're my brother and sister. You're here and I love you. Anyway, hopefully that didn't creep you out. This is me expressing my gratitude for you being here, and thank you for listening to this podcast. Guess what? I'm Armenian, which is from Armenia. Like, my family's from Armenia. That's part of my blood. And in my family, we call something we call it the Armenian goodbye. You say goodbye and then you keep talking for 10 to 30 to 2 more hours. And I feel like that's what I'm doing on this podcast. So here's a very Armenian goodbye, and I said bye like 5 minutes ago, and I'm saying bye now. So have a great day. I'll see you later. Goodbye, officially.